Hello, it's Royce Rosewood. This is the Ragamuncers, and one of the things we do here is play and talk about solo role-playing games. And I am here to talk about Between the Skies. Now, Between the Skies is out, but there is a new version coming in just a few days, a hardcover, and I've been given a digital version of this hardcover by the author Huffa, and I decided that I would like to make a review about it. Between the Skies is mostly a set of random tables for playing a cosmic fantasy adventure of exploration. So think Spelljammer, Planescape, we're going in between the worlds. So there are now 3 different versions of this game, and they're all pretty similar. The first that came out was a large PDF that's available for free on itch.io, and I believe is still available for free. And that sets out sort of the whole argument of the thing, gives you all the tables, gives you all the suggestions, and says, here you go, have at it. And then there was the zine series, so these 3 kind of mini books available from Exalted Funeral. And now we have the hardcover coming out. Now, I don't actually have a physical copy, but I was able to look at the digital interior. So I can't comment on, print quality, but if you've ordered from Exalted Funeral before, I think you know what you're getting it for. It's good stuff. And this, I feel like, having read through the PDF, this feels like the final form of Between the Skies. It feels refined, it feels organized. There's little tweaks and revisions here and there that just put like the last final touch on something that I already loved and adored, and now love even more. So like I said, it's mostly a set of random tables. What it is not is, a system. In fact, I would go so far as to say Between the Skies is almost anti-system, or at least system suspicious. It provides some suggestions and framework and an argument, really, for playing in a more free style rather than getting bogged down in, a bunch of rules and procedures. It kind of gives you a toolkit of some different ways that you can roll 6-sided dice to resolve situations and when you might want to use each of those things, and leaves it up to you, the player or the game master, to decide when you might want to use those things. So it really puts the onus on you to kind of figure that out and play in the way that you want to play. Now, that's not going to be for everyone. Some people really like really direct, clear instructions for how to handle things. I think for those people, what I would say is, if you're interested in the setting of Between the Skies, just use a system that you like and are familiar with. Just use that resolution system and then use the tables to generate stuff to interact with. It's open. It can do that. The other thing that I think is really great, not only about the original itch.io PDF, but also this book, is just all the material, the blog posts that it links to, that it suggests reading. It's really like its own little course in thinking about RPGs and this kind of free style of play that was really an education for me and has really shaped the way that I think about the games that I play on this channel and the games that I play for my own self and for fun. It's really an amazing resource. The design on this PDF is just gorgeous. It's really well organized. It looks great. There's got a lot of space, a lot of gorgeous, kind of ambiguous, imaginative art. There are a few changes that I noticed that I like. So there are the spark tables, which sort of are meant to kind of give you ideas. There's some new additions to the spark table to make it even more useful, and I could definitely see myself using. There's some adjustments to the travel procedures, where the original travel procedures I just didn't use because I was like, this is just going to take forever. There's a change, a little tiny change to the rules that is like, oh, I see how that works now. That's going to be quick. That's going to move us forward. It does have a suggestion for something called playtime, which is a set of procedures that work together. It's still pretty open, but it does, give you a little bit more instruction. And then, The original PDF and these books, to a lesser extent, sort of feel like, here's a bunch of stuff, kind of figured out, kind of here. There's just like a little bit extra for people who maybe want just that little extra bit of like, oh, well, you could try this. So there's different suggestions for how you might approach play. You might choose to play the monsters in the setting, and it has some suggestions for that. It has some suggestions for, if you're a character from our world that then goes through a portal and then ends up in a strange world, tools and tables to support that. There's this, it's basically there's like an isekai table for like, what were you doing? And, what transition were you on the precipice of? And now you're in this strange world. There's an alternative character generation. So the original character generation is life path generation, similar to the original Traveler game. But now there's something called Spark character generation, which I think is quicker if you don't want to go through a whole, lifetime. And of course, you can, always slot in character from another game. And it gives an example for if you wanted to take a Troika background and import it into Between the Skies, how you would think about that, which is great. I think Troika is a really compatible sort of ethos with Between the Skies. And then, of course, lots of stuff that we've seen before, ship generation tables and the location generation tables, encounter generation, but there's some more like pre-built settings, adventures, and they're all very different. Kind of slot them into anything or use them on their own. To me, like generating something on your own is sort of the fun of it, but I can see why other people might want some kind of pre-built things for a different style of play. So there's that for those kinds of players as well. This thing is massive. We're talking like 400 pages. I don't know. And then everything just feels like easier to read, easier to look at. Not that it was bad before. I didn't even think about it, but now just looking at it just feels like, oh, this is even nicer. Of course, creature generation, generate your own spells, which is a really fun table because it points to other tables in the book and then reinterprets those words in different ways. Something about having tables spread across 3 different books, right? It makes it a little bit more difficult to find things, and I did have to generate my own index. But this book has its own index, so it's great. You can find what you're looking for. And just to put the cherry on top, the index itself is also a table. So if at some point you're like, I just want to roll on something and I don't know what, you could roll on the index and it would point you at one of the tables in the book, and then you would generate something from that, which I just love. As someone, I used to be an indexer. I love indexes. And of course, I love random tables because I play solo RPGs. To see an index that is also a random table is just tickles me to no end. If it's not already clear, like, I love this game. It's super recommended for solo play. It's, just these random tables. It can generate so many weird, interesting ideas. The tables can point at each other to kind of start to interconnect. It's great. I always recommend it whenever anybody's on any of the forums or groups or something. It's like, what's your favorite solo RPG? I'm always like, Between the Skies. Like, no contest for me, really. If you want to see it in action, on my ongoing series, Sphere Hoppers, which was inspired by Between the Skies, taking all these different campaigns and merging them together. I start playing and using the Between the Skies materials starting in episode 5. So you can start there, see how it works. Overall, with all these different versions, which one would I recommend? I would have to recommend this hardback. It's everything, but it's got the final polish on it, the final revision. I can't comment on like the actual heft of the book, but I imagine it's quite large. I can only see myself going to this book. So if you don't have Between the Skies and you're interested, skip these, just get the big book, which I believe comes out on September 17th, 2024. So if you're watching this video in the very first week that it's out, it's probably not available, but any other time it's likely available from Exalted Funeral. So thanks again to Huffa for providing this PDF. I was so excited to get it and read it, and check out my other reviews and other solo RPG content on this channel. Thanks for watching.